clarifying the meaning of an unconfused mind in Buddha recitation. Talking about a mind with no confusion, most people hold on to these three wrong interpretations which are interrelated. Firstly, they think that the daily recitation is just a practice. Only the last Buddha recitation before passing away is genuine. This is a wrong interpretation. Why do I say this? It is because every recitation, every mindfulness of Namo Amitabha Buddha is genuine. Every of our mindfulness of the Buddha's name assures us of a rebirth. That is why we say this is the accomplishment of karma in this life. It is not necessary for us to wait until our deathbed that the Buddha's name suddenly gets a rise in value. We misinterpret the Buddha's name, thinking that the name of the Buddha is empty in our daily practices. Suddenly at the deathbed, it appreciates in value. This view is incorrect. Now take the analogy of the withdrawal of money from a bank. The money is already in our account, only then, when we go to the bank, we can withdraw it, right? The correct understanding is at normal times. The money is already in our account. At the deathbed, we are withdrawing it. Now, when we recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, the money has long been credited into our account by Amitabha Buddha. 10 kalpas ago, he has credited his immeasurable merits and virtues of the Dharma wealth into this name, Namo Amitabha Buddha. Now, when we are reciting, we are holding the money. At our deathbed, the Buddha will come to welcome us. Moreover, the money has long been credited in our account. Just by reciting Namo Amitabha Buddha, the merits and virtues of attaining a rebirth is assured. If we say the recitation of Namo Amitabha Buddha is empty of merits and virtues to attain a rebirth, then even at the deathbed it will still be empty. If at the deathbed we can attain a rebirth, it means now the merits and virtues are also full. Do not say that we recite Namo Amitabha Buddha now is useless. Only the last recitation is useful. Actually, every recitation of Namo Amitabha Buddha is useful. If it is useless to recite only then at the deathbed, it will still be useless. If it is useful now, at the deathbed, it is also useful. Understand? That is why Shandao, Great Master, gives the explanation of these 6 words as follows. Namo means taking refuge, also means bringing forth the vows and transference of merits. While Amitabha Buddha is the practice with this meaning, we are sure of the attainment of a rebirth. It means the words Namo Amitabha Buddha are the confirmation of our attainment of a rebirth. Reciting Namo Amitabha Buddha now means we're replete of vows and practices now. It does not mean only at the deathbed we will be replete with vows and practices. Even before the 10 kalpas, the vows and practices are already fully replete. We must be clear on this point. A man who takes refuge in the Buddha will surely attain a rebirth. The word Amitabha is our cultivation. Amitabha is our merits and virtues. Here, taking refuge is equivalent to attaining a rebirth. It is unnecessary to wait till our deathbed. This is an exception. Some people do not know about the Buddha and do not take refuge in him. They only take refuge in him at their deathbed. Then their attainment of rebirth will be at the deathbed. The moment we recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, the merits and virtues of attaining a rebirth is already confirmed. Next, we study. We recite the Buddha's name throughout our life. 10 times, 3 times, or 5 times, the Buddha will surely come to welcome us. This is because Amitabha Buddha has fully accomplished his vows. He enables a mundane man to attain a rebirth just by reciting his name. Here it means the attainment of rebirth is very easy. Whenever we recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, at that moment we are replete with the merits and virtues of rebirth. Amitabha Buddha will come and welcome us. Some people say the recitation at normal times is empty. We attain a rebirth only at the deathbed. This is known as the meaning of the other time, and this is what Master Shandao is trying to correct. He says that every recitation is replete with vows and practices. The next problem is the people say we must recite the Buddha's name at the deathbed, that we must apply our effort to make sure our mind is not confused at the deathbed. This is another wrong interpretation. Look at the 3 sections of time span in the sutra. A man who recites the Buddha's name for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, and even 7 days. This is known as the time span of the whole life. The second time span is thus stated at his deathbed. It means he recites the Buddha's name normally, and at his deathbed the Buddha appears before him. He comes with all the sagely assembly to welcome him. He recites the Buddha's name every day is the cause, while the Buddha reveals himself at his deathbed is the fruit. Third time span, the Buddha appeared The Buddha appears at his deathbed is the cause. This man is not confused at his deathbed is the fruit. In a full sentence, this man is not confused. At his deathbed, he attains rebirth in the Amituofo Buddha's land of ultimate bliss instantly. At the deathbed, the man sees the Buddha, and his mind is not confused. These are the benefits, the rewards, the results of Buddha recitation. This is the time to reap the fruits, not planning a cause. In the above two sections of the sutra, nothing is mentioned about Buddha recitation. Of course, the man might be reciting the Buddha's name at his deathbed, or he might not be reciting. When Amituofo Buddha appears before him, he may be reciting the name, or may not be reciting the name, or may not be reciting. This is not a problem with the deathbed. If you are reciting or not reciting, Amituofo Buddha will be there to receive you. Your mind will not be confused, so don't worry. We should call the Buddha's name at the deathbed. In the sutra, it does not stress unless it is because Buddha recitation should be carried out as a daily activity. There is an exception here. There are people who do not do the recitation in normal times. They are like the man in the Contemplation Sutra, who attains in the lower grade lotus. He does not recite the Buddha's name in his life. If he does not recite at his deathbed, he will have no chance. So at that moment, before passing away, he is taught to recite Namo Amituofo Buddha. We who recite Namo Amituofo Buddha daily will surely attain a rebirth, even if we do not recite the Buddha's name before passing away. This is 100% guarantee. There's a sutra called the Naizyan Bhikshu Sutra. The Bhikshu asks the Buddha, I'm practicing on a daily basis. What will happen to me if I cannot cultivate on my deathbed? The Buddha gave the following analogy. Just like a tree which grows up slanting towards the west. Then it is cut down with the saw and pulled down with a rope towards the west. On which side will the tree fall down? Of course, it will fall down on the western side. This means when we do the Buddha recitation daily and vows to attain a rebirth in the west, our mind is slanting towards the west. In normal times, at the deathbed, Amituofo Buddha again appears to receive us. He pulls us up, so if we do not go to the west, where will we be going? So every day we recite Namo Amituofo Buddha. Our mind is only thinking about the rebirth in the western world of ultimate bliss. At the deathbed, even if we do not recite the Buddha's name, this will not hinder us from attaining a rebirth. That is why this is called the accomplishment of the karma in one's life. The karma to attain a rebirth is already accomplished. There is no more hesitation or become ineffectual. Once it is accomplished, it will not change, so do not worry about this. Moreover, Amituofo Buddha says that you will gather in all the Buddha reciters persistently, without letting go any one of them. When we are reciting Namo Amituofo Buddha now, we are gathered in by the Buddha. He is giving us the protection now, not leaving us, not renouncing us until our arrival at the Pure Land. Some people misunderstand the Buddha. They say when we are reciting, the Buddha gathers us in. At the deathbed, when we do not recite, he would just release his grab and let us fall away. This is impossible. This is why the Buddha says gathering us in without letting us fall away. It means that he will always hold us tightly. At the deathbed, even if we cannot recite Namo Amituofo Buddha, this will not affect our attainment of rebirth. Next in the sutra, it is thus stated, at our deathbed, our mind is not confused. Here does not mean that we have the strength to control our mind, and so that it is not confused. The strength comes from Amituofo Buddha. According to the translation by Zhuangzang, Great Master, it is thus stated, the Buddha of immeasurable life spent together with his immeasurable Shraka disciples, the Bodhisattva assemblies, surrounding him, appear before the Buddha recited to bestow upon him with kindness and compassion so that his mind is not confused. When the Buddha appears before us, his light of kindness and compassion will protect us. In this way, our mind will dwell in right mindfulness, not confused nor become crazy. This is the Buddha's strength, not our strength. Great Master O.E. describes in his book Important Understanding of Amituofo Buddha, which I think is especially good. He says this problem only arises if we rely on our own effort. We Buddha reciters do not have this problem. He says, in the defiled land, a man who cultivates relying on his own effort will find it very difficult to decide the road he will take, facing birth and death. It means at our deathbed we wish to rely on our own effort to cross over to cross over birth and death. It is a difficult task. May they be the persistent cultivators who are very intelligent. They will fail the test of birth and death. This refers to the general cultivators. He further says, even if he has great understanding and he is enlightened to the profound door, it means that he is enlightened and has penetrated in nature, that he cultivates honestly, following the steps thoroughly. But if he is still unable to eradicate his habitual afflictions, he will still be pulled away by his habitual tendency if we rely on our effort and cultivation that we are unable to sever our bad habits fully. Precision rain out of 10 will take the wrong path. When the hidden sheet arise ceaselessly, he will just be pulled along without any strength to control himself. This is why the teaching of Great Master Yang Ming, if we rely on our own effort to go the path, it is very difficult. We are not in control of the situation. That is why it is said, the first stage of Arhat still faces confusion when he is born, while Bodhisattva will fall in delusion for the transition of births. Even as Sotapanna, this first stage of Arhat, is unable to remember his own cultivation. Later, when he continues to cultivate, only then will he realize his position. If a Bodhisattva is born again, he will still be confused by the transitional period from one birth to another. So what is it to say about the mundane man? We simply have no control over our birth and death. This means that relying on one's effort to cultivate is very difficult. On the contrary, we wish to have faith in the Buddha, and we recite the Buddha's name, and to recite the Buddha's name we recite the Buddha's name, we rely on the Buddha's strength. With the Buddha's vows of kindness and compassion, our trust will not be in vain. Amituofo Buddha and the sagely assemblies appear before us to console us, to guide us. This means that Amituofo Buddha's kindness and compassion vows are not fake. So in the vow to welcome the man at the deathbed, Amituofo Buddha appears before him. Why does he appear? To console him, to lead him to the Pure Land. That is why our mind will not be confused, and we will attain a rebirth easily. With the kindness and compassion of the Buddha, he appears to protect us, to console us, to guide us. That is why we will not be confused. We will attain a rebirth at great ease. We should know that with the kindness and compassion of the Buddha, he appears to protect us, to console us, to guide us. That is why we will not be confused. We will attain a rebirth at great ease. We should know our mind is not confused because of the Buddha's strength. If we do not possess such strength, every day we should just recite Namo Amituofo Buddha at our deathbed. Our mind will naturally dwell in right concentration, right mindfulness. These are the benefits. This is the benefit bestows upon us, because the Buddha, when it says the living beings fall into confusion at the deathbed, he especially makes sure that we will be free from such sufferings. The Buddha sees that most living beings are afflicted at the deathbed. That's why he grieves us in this guarantee. He gives us this guarantee. He says, don't worry, I will come to fetch you when you are about to pass away. He will protect us, console us, bestow upon us his kindness and compassion, and make sure that we will dwell in right mindfulness. See, the Buddha gives us the guarantee. Please believe in him. Will you? Audience, yes. Thirdly, we want to clear the misleading issue, saying that if we do not recite Namo Amituofo Buddha at our deathbed, the Buddha will not come, or that the Buddha comes without our knowing. These are wrong information. The first reason is the Buddha has brought forth the vow of welcoming. In the 19th vow, he says at the deathbed, if he does not come together with the great assembly to surround the Buddha reciter, to appear before him, to receive him, he will not certify to proper enlightenment. So we should just keep on reciting Namo Amituofo Buddha. In our daily life, the Buddha will surely come to welcome us. He often comes to see us, to welcome us. The only problem is we cannot see him. Why is this so? It is described that his bright illumination pervasively shines on the worlds in the 10 directions, together in the Buddha reciters continually. He will appear before us at our deathbed. At the deathbed is the transition periods of 2 life forms, the transition of one's life from the Saha world to a Pure Land. We will see the surrounding of that land. We will see the Buddha and Bodhisattva come forth to welcome us. Moreover, we recite the Buddha's name. With the three conditions, the Buddha will surely come to welcome us. We should have no worry about this. Amitabha Buddha is very punctual. The first of the three conditions is the condition of being close to. When we start to cultivate our mouth, we'll often recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, and the Buddha will hear us. We always bow to the Buddha, and the Buddha will see us. Our mind is always mindful of the Buddha, and the Buddha is also thinking about them. The three karma on both sides are incoherent. This is known as the condition of being close to. It means that we have close affinity with the Buddha. This is also called the three karmas are not apart from one another. Secondly, we will explain the meaning of the condition of being near. Living beings wish to see the Buddha. The Buddha will stand before them on the arising of such a thought. This is known as the condition of being near. We are not far away from the Buddha. In fact, we are very near to him. When we recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, he is just by our side. Thirdly, it is known as the enhancing condition. When living beings recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, the sins of many kalpas are eradicated. Before passing away, the Buddha and sagely assemblies will naturally come to receive them. All the deviant karma and bondages are unable to hinder them to attain a rebirth. This is the meaning of the enhancing condition. This is to make sure we will not be confused at the deathbed, because all the deviant knowledge and evil karma cannot obstruct us. Without the protection of the Buddha, we might become confused or crazy. We might lose our mind and make mistakes. But since the Buddha says he will come to welcome us with his presence, there comes along the strength of great kindness and compassion, the strength of great vows, the strength of great illumination, the strength of great gathering in, the strength of great constellation. These strengths enable us to be free from the bondage and obstacles of all evil karmas. Without obstructions, our mind will not be confused. When we recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, he will often hear us, see us, know us, and come to visit us. When we make obeisance to the Buddha, he will often see us. When we recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha often hears us. Know us and come to visit us. When we make obeisance to the Buddha, he will often come to see us. When we recite Namo Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha will often hear us. When we're thinking of Namo Amitabha Buddha, he will be thinking of us too. When we wish to go to the Pure Land, the Buddha will often come to visit us. At the deathbed, Amitabha Buddha will emit lights especially to protect us, to eradicate any hindrances that might arise. Another problem is people are worried they may not know the Buddha is coming. For example, we may fall unconscious with the brain clogged with blood, or the mind is in a confused state, or that we cannot recite the Buddha's name. These are not problems at all. What I say is this: it is because when he comes, we will surely know. Here are a few scenarios of a Buddha recited at the deathbed. First, Amitabha Buddha comes along with all the great Bodhisattvas, Guanyin Pusa, Dakshizi Pusa, all the great Arahant, the Shavaka Bhikkhus to welcome us. At this moment, the heavenly music springs out from the empty space. The heavenly fragrance permeates the air, and Amitabha Buddha will emit a great bright illumination. Amitabha Buddha will praise him, console him, and say, "Good man, as you recite the Buddha's name, I am here to welcome you." So the Buddha comes with the great assemblies. The Buddha's voice resonates in the space to praise him. The Buddha's voice resonates in the space to praise him. The Buddha's voice is extremely wonderful, unlike my voice. Here, after praising him, he extends his hands just like 1,000 Buddhas stretch their jewel hands together, with the jewel lights emitting from his hand to shine on the Buddha reciter. From the eyebrows, jewel lights are emitted to shine on the Buddha reciter. With the illumination of these jewel lights, all the sinful karmas are put to extinction. So the Buddha comes with great assemblies. The Buddha's voice is in the space to praise him. The Buddha's voice is extremely wonderful, unlike my voice here. After praising him, he extends his hands just like 1,000 Buddhas stretch their jewel hands together, with the jewel lights emitting from his hands to shine on the Buddha reciter. From the eyebrows, jewel lights are emitted to shine on the Buddha reciter. With the illumination of these jewel lights, all the sinful karma are put to extinction. On seeing the Buddha's lights, he is overjoyed. He immediately places his hand on the ground, forgetting all the pain in his joints, the wasted and puffy ones. He can only say, Namo Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha of immeasurable lifespan Buddha. He's so glad as his room is filled with lights. So, we see the Buddha brings along the sagely assemblies. He made lights protecting the Buddha reciters. And our karmic hindrances are cleared. He consoles us, extending his hands to receive us. He just moves his fingers and we are already on the lotus. We are so happy to see the Buddha, so excited, and we do not know how. We are already on the jewel lotus. It is not you who climb on it. The Buddha's lights just move up and you are already standing on the lotus. This is the end of the explanation of an unconfused mind. Dharma words by Yogi, Great Master. In the Saha world of beings recite the Buddha's name, and they have not submitted their abundant afflictions on views and thoughts. At the deathbed, if they can be conscious, it is not because of their own strength to support and uphold. This is all because they totally rely on Amitabha's rescue and travel on a ship of great vows. They do not have right mindfulness, they dwell in right mindfulness. This is why their mind is not confused. That is why they attain a rebirth. An extra of the Dharma teaching by Venerable Master Shi Zong, the abbot of Hangyang Monastery, on whose eternal title the mind is neither confused nor inverted. Namo